Hi Swifties, welcome back to my channel. I am the Taylor Swiftologist, and if you're new here, I am a journalist and I like to take my analytical organizational skills and apply them to dissecting the public life of my favorite pop persona, Taylor Swift. So if that sounds good to you, make sure that you subscribe, leave me a comment letting me know that you did, ring that bell, give this video a thumbs up, and let's just get into my video today. So I'm kind of dressed like an Italian gangster, like from a 60s movie or something, but you know, with my chains and shit, but I'm kind of vibing. I feel like I need to be a little defensive in this video today. It's a Q&A technically, but really it's gonna be an unpopular opinions video because, you know, I have a lot to share and people love to disagree with me. So if you disagree with me, remember that on my channel, I have free speech and you don't. So if you're rude to me, I will block you. And if you've been around here long enough, you know that I'm super liberal with the block button. So if you'd like to get blocked, you can try it below, but I suggest that you don't because it'll only end one way. But otherwise, I hope that you'll enjoy today's video. I'm gonna be drawing on some questions that you guys submitted to me via YouTube in one of my videos where I asked for questions for this very video. So I'll be answering some of those and then I will hop on over to my Evolution of a Snake podcast Instagram where I will take some questions that I asked for earlier today. So if you haven't already, you should go follow that Instagram and listen to the Evolution of a Snake. If you're here for the Taylor Swift content and you like the kind of in-depth exploration of the life and times of her career, I think that you will like this. So I'll leave everything to do with that linked below as well. Let's just get straight into it, shall we? I'm excited to like cause a commotion. Let's do it. What is objectively the worst song from each album? Okay, so this is gonna be a hard one to answer because I feel like sometimes there's more than one, sometimes there's like not even one that I can pick. But off the top of my head, I haven't prepped any answers for these Q&As, so I'm trying to do it off the cuff. From the debut, the worst song is probably A Place in This World. I hate that song. It is so stupid. It's a retread of like 3 other songs on the album. That and A Perfectly Good Heart really get on my fucking nerves, but I think A Place in This World has to really take the cake for like melodramatic nonsense that I never want to hear again. For Fearless, this is a hard one because I feel like Fearless is pretty much front to back bangers, and also like the stakes aren't so high on Fearless. You know, like I feel like my standards were a bit lower because we were, you know, still in the early days of the career, and this album did so much for her that I'm like hesitant to say anything bad about it. But I will say maybe Change, just because I feel like Change hasn't aged well. It's about like Scott Borchetta and Big Machine. And also I just think it's kind of boring. It always read to me as kind of a forced song. I think Long Live is a much better version of what Change tried to do. So Change walked so Long Live could run, essentially. And speaking of Long Live, Speak Now's worst song is actually a bonus track, which is good because, you know, it's better that the standard edition of the album is completely uninterrupted by flops. But the worst song on Speak Now is Superman. That song, it's so bad that I hadn't listened to it all the way through until like 2 years ago. And I'm hardcore, as you can tell. If you've been around these parts for a while, you know that I'm pretty into what I'm into, which is Taylor Swift. But yeah, Superman, I can't be doing the Scott Swift fanfic. I can't. It's not interesting to me. She needs to stop telling lies about Scott Swift. The only truth she ever told was that he was a careless man and that she's his careful daughter. That's the only truth we ever got from her about him. Everything else should be discounted and ignored for the record. Moving on to my favorite album, Red. And again, I don't really want to say anything bad about this album, but I mean, if we're including the vault tracks, then it's I Bet You Think About Me. If we're not including the vault tracks, which we shouldn't, I should really just go through the canon. I would say, I'm not gonna say Girl at Home. I think Girl at Home is good, and you can fight with the wall on that one. I think it's a really good song, it's really fun. I hate the new version, but the old version slapped. I would say, you know, there was a time when I would have said Starlight back in the day before I came around to the gospel, but I would say, maybe it's Stay, Stay, Stay. I don't like that song. I know that people are really obsessed with Stay 3X, but like, I'm not. I think it's kind of silly. It's a little kitschy. It goes into that category of Taylor Swift songs that I don't like, which are like kitschy without being camp. So another example I can think of that would fit into that category is Paper Rings. But I don't even want to get to Lover yet because it's like, how do you pick the worst song off of like the worst album? Okay, what's next? 1989. I think that I Know Places is not a good song. And I know that everyone is gonna ruin my life for saying that, but I've said it before. I think I said it in my tier ranking of all Taylor Swift songs. I think that I Know Places is kind of a flop. It's a dud. It's boring to me. It only has like one good line and it just sounds bad. Like melodically, I don't like the way that the song sounds. It has nothing to do with the writing, actually. It's literally just the way that the song makes its way through my eardrums and into my brain. Like I'm not into it. Do you know what I mean? Does anyone else see what I see with I Know Places and understand that it's actually not that good? If you do, please leave me a comment and let me know, because I feel like I live on an island where I am the only person that thinks that I Know Places is a bad song. Everyone else loves it or is too scared to speak up and say their opinion. That's probably it. Reputation, King of My Heart, easy. I hate that fucking song. I hate King of My Heart. It's the most annoying bleep bloop song. It's silly. It's like, I feel like it's what London Boy is. It tried to be what London Boy is, and she got it right on the second attempt and not right on the first. I just hate, again, it's the sound of this song. This also goes into the Paper Rings Stay, Stay, Stay category for me. There's just something intolerable about this song. But then again, we have New Year's Day. And don't get me started on New Year's Day. New Year's Day was the beginning of a bad trend of Taylor writing these forced closing tracks. To be fair, I think it only lasted for 2 records, but like, I can't do New Year's Day. I feel like it doesn't really fit the vibe of Reputation. I also feel like she tried to shoehorn a bunch of lyrics that weren't necessarily meant to be in one song together, in the bridge all together, because she told us at the Secret Session, which, fun fact, is my next video coming up, my Secret Session tea, she told us there that the bridge for New Year's Day was a combination of lines that she'd had written in her notes for a really long time. So that's like, please don't ever become a stranger whose laugh I could recognize anywhere. Hold on to the memories, they will hold on to you. Those things kind of like forced together made it all feel very predictable and contrived. And we all know that I don't like contrived from Taylor. I love a little bit of calculation, but she has to at least sell me on the fact that it happened organically. And maybe I'm just biased because I heard that explanation from her mouth, but New Year's Day to me doesn't ring as an authentic closing track for an album. Lover. Where do I start? I mean, I went on my Lover rant in my last video, Justice for Cruel Summer. I mean, I think that probably Me is the worst. That's an easy one. If you were gonna ask me outside of Me, I would probably say You Need to Calm Down, and then maybe Daylight. And if you like Daylight, you're a new Swiftie. I know you are. No hate, no shade. I just know that you are new around the scene if Daylight is one of your all-time favorite Taylor Swift songs. But yeah, so I guess I will just go with Me for Lover because I don't want to like rile up the girls. Folklore, it's got to be Epiphany. I'm sorry. I just think that that's a silly, stupid song. I don't really get it. I don't really like it. I don't vibe with it. It's, again, a bunch of things trying to work at the same time. When Taylor tries to do social commentary, like with the pandemic and stuff, I just think that she should keep it to herself. I don't like that. My least favorite song on Evermore is Dorothea. I've gone on my Dorothea sucks soapbox so many times that you guys should like just be used to it by now. But I think that Dorothea belongs in that category of songs I mentioned earlier. Stay, 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 King of My Heart, Paper Rings. If anyone can describe, and Dorothea, if anyone can describe what the thread is between all of those songs that makes me hate them, I would love to know. Like, what do you think it is about all of those songs that sucks? If you agree with me and you think that all of those songs suck. But, you know, I've never found someone that shared my specific taste in Taylor Swift opinions. It seems that I have a lot of wrong opinions. But, you know, to me, obviously, they're completely correct. So that was a nice little ranting way to begin this video. What aesthetics or genres for future albums would you like to see her do? What might she do, and what would you like her to do? Aesthetics and genres. You know, I think that we are overdue a pop rock album. I can really see her kind of doing a slight pivot into that direction, maybe a la Miley Cyrus's Plastic Hearts. Like, she's already done her 80s revival era, but I could see her maybe doing like a 90s grunge kind of indie rock vibe. I would love to see her collaborate with someone like Mitski. I feel like Taylor's songwriting is so like, it's so sharp and it's so melodic. I would really like to see her kind of get a bit unhinged with her writing process and not get so focused on delivering really catchy and good hooks, and instead kind of honing in on creating a vibe or an atmosphere, or again, creating a song that sounds like how that emotion felt, which I talked about in my Are There Any Songs Better Than All Too Well video. I would like to see her be a little bit more adventurous in that sense, but I have a feeling if she does a pop rock album, it's going to be something a little bit more considered. Like 1989 was supposed to be an 80s pop album, but it really wasn't. All the songs were slightly neutered and very like carefully controlled. Same with how Reputation had like hip hop and trap influences, but it certainly wasn't a hip hop or a trap album. She has a good way of kind of filtering what's happening popularly in the rest of the music scene through her own lens. So I would be excited to see her version, her interpretation of what a pop rock album could sound like. I feel like rageful Taylor hasn't been back in a while. We've had very like relaxed and introspective and melancholic Taylor, but I want like forever and always angry, gonna throw my chair off the stage vibe. That's what I would like to return in 2022. Whether or not she'll do it, I don't know. I'm also not 100% convinced that we're gonna get TS10 before all of the re-recordings are done. I feel like she needs to get them out of the way and then we can get back to new stuff. I want her to take as much time as she needs away from the Folklore Evermore universe to come up with something new. I really don't want a repeat. I don't want another big attempt at a pop album like Lover, because we all know how that went and it wasn't my favorite thing in the world. So I think like the challenge for her now is that she's maturing as an artist, and the awkward thing is that she still has a huge young fan base, but also that fan base is aging and getting older. So I'm wondering like, how can she straddle the need for massive commercial success with also the desire to mature and appeal to a broader audience and not care so much about whether or not something goes #1 or she's viral on TikTok for 1 million days. That's the struggle, and to be honest, it is above my pay grade to figure out what she's gonna do next. All I know is that I'm excited and I really want to continue seeing her take risks. I remember I read a review of Reputation that called it her most adventurous album. It's probably the way that's probably the furthest she's gonna push the boat out. As artists get older, they tend to get a little bit more risk averse. I don't know if that's necessarily true for Taylor, because I feel like she's gotten this huge gust of wind with the re-recordings and the Folklore Evermore projects. Like, she's pushing the boat out still after Reputation. I definitely think so. So I'm excited to see something different, is what I'm trying to say. Other artists that you follow closely, I had variations of this question. So people asking like, do you know as much as you know about Taylor Swift about other artists? Short answer, no. No. I follow Taylor intensely just because I've been doing it since I was like 12 or 13 and I'm 25 now. So I mean, it's just something that I do. Like, I don't really remember a time in my life where I wasn't like super following or being in touch with or staying on top of what was going on in Taylor Swift's world and life. So I feel like I'm just gonna keep doing that until I get like so embarrassed that I have a Taylor Swift channel and like a podcast. There will come a time where I'm gonna be too old for this, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm just relishing it while it's still acceptable for me to do it. But before Taylor, I was super obsessed with Avril Lavigne. And I feel like I had this tendency to, I hyperfixate, right? So I have this tendency to get obsessed with something or someone or a musical artist. It usually is a pop star. That's usually the vibe. So Avril probably was the precursor to Taylor. I'm really into Little Mix right now. I've gone down a hole in terms of like their performances and all the drama with Jessie Nelson leaving and everything. So many thoughts on that, but I will spare you from them. So I really do, I like Little Mix a lot, but I don't follow their careers. You know, I'm not like thinking through all of their decisions and like parsing their relationships. I don't feel like I know any artist as well as I feel like I know Taylor. My favorite artist though, like person that I like to listen to the most outside of Taylor, is probably Lana Del Rey. I think she's a genius. I don't really care what you have to say about her. If you want her canceled, I want you canceled. She is truly an artist, you know? Like, she is a melancholic, howl at the moon kind of bitch, and she doesn't care what you say. She's gonna do whatever she wants. She is not particularly concerned with being like beautiful anymore or having these like super like high glam moments. She keeps it moving really fast with her creativity. Like, I think that she doesn't really have a filter, which allows her to be very experimental and very brave and very candid, which I really respect as a musician. I think her voice is beautiful. I got another question asking me what my favorite Lana song was, and that's kind of hard to say. Right now, my favorite one is Tulsa Jesus Freak from Chemtrails Over the Country Club, which is probably my favorite album of hers since Ultraviolent. Kind of lost me there for a second with Honeymoon. That was really like not what I had liked from her. I didn't really like Lust for Life either, but Norman fucking Rockwell, Chemtrails, and Blue Bannisters have all been like excellent records in my opinion. Blue Bannisters I probably don't revisit as much as the first two, but I do like Black Bathing Suit. But of all time, it's probably National Anthem or Radio. Those are my favorite Lana songs. And again, I've been following her since like, not as obsessively as I follow Taylor, because like I don't have time to do both, but I would say that I've been concurrently interested in Lana since a little bit after when I discovered Taylor. Actually, no, quite a while after, but you know, 2011, 2012, I've been around since the beginning. Since Born to Die came out, I've been like paying attention. So Lana is probably the person that I follow more closely, but that's really more on like a writing level, because I'm a writer, not so interested in like her personal life. Actually not interested at all. Which re-recording are you most excited for and why? I'm most excited for Speak Now, because I feel like after Speak Now is out of the way, other than Debut, we're gonna be listening to pretty much carbon copies that sound like they're being filtered through a tin can. Like with 1989 and Reputation, I just don't see how she can mimic that production if she's not willing to like spend the big bucks and get Max Martin back on board. If she is, then I feel like, again, it's gonna sound the same. Like her vocal capability is pretty much the same. It might have gotten a little deeper since 1989, but rep onwards, it's gonna be pretty much note for note remakes, not much to parse through. I also don't think the vaults are gonna be super big, although I have kind of reconsidered my view that the 1989 vault is empty. I think the rep vault is empty, but the 1989 vault, I have a feeling that maybe there are some experimentations, like Message in a Bottle, The Very First Night, that kind of vibe, that didn't make the cut because she was trying on so many different things. I'm curious to see if there are any more Jack Antonoff outtakes, because I feel like she had to trim a few of those from 1989. But then again, I also feel like Jack would have probably like said something about it if there were, and you know, I haven't heard anything, so I don't know. But I am most excited for Speak Now because I want to hear if this was a movie we recorded. Honestly, I need to hear it, and I need to know what the fucking bridge lyrics and if this was a movie are. This is an age-old debate, a question I've been meaning to ask Taylor, but I forget every single time I meet her. What are the real lyrics and if this was a movie? The bridge. So the part where, if you're out there, if you're somewhere, I've been moving on. If you're out there, if you're somewhere, if you're moving on, I've been waiting for you, blank, since you've been gone. You can say whatever you want to say that you think the lyric is. There is no definitive answer. We haven't heard it from the horse's mouth. She's never performed the song live. We don't have an official confirmed lyric sheet. The lyric booklet that's online is fake, by the way, so if you try and link me to that, it's fake. So I would like to know what the real lyrics are. That's a really pressing issue for me. Wow, I'm really all over the place answering like a million questions at once. But that's what I'm most excited for about Speak Now. And also, I think that there is probably a lot of sadness locked up in that vault. A lot of emotions that maybe just hit a little bit too heavy, kind of like Nothing New on Red, that we weren't ready to hear at the time because we hadn't evolved our taste so much, especially because Speak Now was really such a stepping stone between one version of her and another. I'm very excited to see what's on the vault. If Castles Crumbling is in there, I'm very, very interested. Why did she skip the Long Pond studio sessions for Evermore? I don't know. This is my Q&A. Ask Taylor. No, I'm kidding. I think she skipped it because she was like rushing to get the re-records done. I think she was really ready to kind of get that project underway. And I don't know, maybe there was like a COVID situation. Was there a surge at that time? I'm not really sure. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I also wish that it existed, but I don't think that there's like some conspiracy theory behind it. I really think it was probably like a scheduling conflict. So yeah, or maybe she couldn't come to a satisfactory deal with a streaming service to do it. Thoughts on the Message in a Bottle remix? Girl, girl, it exists. It's out there. It is Message in a Bottle remixed, reimagined, remastered. Is it necessary? No. Are we pushing Message in a Bottle as like a single? I thought that we decided when we left it off the album the first time that it wasn't good enough to be a single or to even be on the album. Not as bad as some of the other remixes that I've heard. I mean, nothing so far has ever compared to the disaster that was Girl at Home, Taylor's version. Like, that is the ultimate bad remix. Because it's a remix, it's not a re-recording. It's like a complete, oh my God, I can't think about that too much because it gives me a headache. I don't know why it happened. But yeah, I mean, it's okay. I'm not that interested. I feel the same way about all the remixes. The only remix recently that I have liked, and it's not even a remix, was the Cardigan by the Candlelight thing that she did for Folklore. I think when she was trying to get Cardigan to #1. I liked that. That was cute. What is the most relatable Taylor song? Oh God, okay. I am a very nostalgic, wistful person. I wouldn't say that I'm stuck in the past, but I feel like the past is with me all the time. You know, like I live in the present, I like to keep it moving, but I really like to honor and cherish past versions of myself. And I think this is why Holy Ground is the most relatable song to me, because I feel like Holy Ground strikes that perfect melancholic balance between missing the way that things were and knowing that even though that was great, it's better the way that it is now. And I feel like that's how I feel a lot of the time, you know, going through my life as I get older. And Holy Ground being my favorite really hasn't changed over the years. So obviously there's something relatable in there to me. What is a Taylor Swift song that you've lived through? All you had to do was stay. I feel like I was in like a situationship this one time and it really could have been something amazing and it didn't work out because, you know, some people don't want to stay. And then you're like, you were all I wanted, but not like this when they come crawling back, you know? So I feel like all you had to do was stay is an experience that I have lived once or twice in my life. What Taylor merch would you do anything to own? I was going through all my merch that I have hoarded in like a closet somewhere, and I found a like first edition set of debut guitar picks, and they're like holographic and they shift with the light and they change. I really should have pulled them out for this video, but I didn't, so whatever. I'm grateful to own that. I would like to own the full suite of Taylor Swift perfumes. Why is that a merch item that I want? Because they're discontinued, babe. It's like, where are you gonna get them? You can't, they're out of production. And perfumes are like not the kind of thing that like you can trade endlessly forever. Like eventually, all of our bottles of Taylor Swift perfume are gonna dry up or they're gonna expire and they're gonna smell disgusting. So I have Wonderstruck, Wonderstruck Enchanted, Taylor by Taylor Swift, and an empty bottle of Incredible Things. I have been looking everywhere for a new bottle of Incredible Things because I'm trying to do a YouTube video reviewing all of her perfumes. Do you know how hard it is to track it down, first of all, and how expensive it is to buy them once you track it down? It's a lot. So I don't know if that'll be happening, but yes, I would love to own the full collection of all her perfumes. I love all the bottles. I love all the little freebies because you get like a body mist and like shower gel. I have Wonderstruck shower gel somewhere. I used it once. It smells disgusting. Like it's horrible. The lotion does not moisturize at all. It's like rubbing sandpaper that is like creamed with perfume on your hands. It's not the vibe. And yet I would like to own all of them in their like little boxes. I feel very sentimental about the perfume eras because I was so excited about it when it came out. It was kind of fun to have something like very tangible and physical that smelled good. I liked the way all of them smelled. I'll reserve my thoughts on them actually for another video because I really am hoping that that video pans out. I think it'll be really fun. What is her most underrated live performance? Her most underrated live performance is Holy Ground live at the Formula One. So it was her only show either in 2016 or 2017. Might have been 2017, a little bit before Reputation came out. Either way, it was her only show of the year and she had not put out Reputation yet, but she put together this set for the Formula One event. I believe it was in Texas, Dallas or Austin, I'm not sure. It was in Texas, but there is a high definition video of her singing Holy Ground, and it is sensational. It's the Red Tour mix of Holy Ground, but without the annoying drum break in the middle. It is so good. The vocals are so strong. Similarly, her performance of Style from that show as well is really good. Anything that you can find from that show is good. But the Holy Ground performance really sticks out to me. It just looked like she was having so much fun revisiting that song after quite a while, especially like in an upbeat setting, not with an acoustic guitar. And I think she looks beautiful. I love the hair. It's Bleachella, but it's grown out a little bit. We've still got the lightness, but we don't have the coconut head. She looks good, she sounds good, and she seems to be really happy to be back on stage. So I think that it was from a low moment in her life generally. So I really appreciate that memory, to have that. And it was also a surprise when the video came out. It came out quite some time after the performance, and I think it's just Style and Holy Ground. I don't think there are any other recorded performances, but you know what? We're so blessed to just have those two because I think they were the best. If Debut wasn't self-titled, what would you call it? That is such a good question. Okay, if Debut was not called Taylor Swift, what would I call it? I would probably call it Teardrops on My Guitar, just because I feel like that so perfectly encapsulates who she is as a writer and a performer, and it's just like, it's a very visual title, so I feel like that would be a pretty good one, but it would kind of pigeonhole that album, which is otherwise quite bright and happy. Like, there are a few lower moments, but even the like sadder songs have like a very twangy, bright production element to them. So I would either call it that or, wait for it, a Perfectly Good Heart. Can you believe? I hate that song. And yet, I think that would have been a good album title because, you know, her whole, how she was marketing herself at the beginning was the heartbreak girl. Like, she was just constantly walking around and having boys being assholes to her for no reason when she was a perfect, beautiful princess. So a perfectly good heart to break, to keep, to love, to cherish. I mean, it would have been a really good metaphorical thing, I think, for her. Okay, now I'm going to switch to the questions that I got sent on Instagram. Do you think we'll ever get a visual album? I would love a visual album. I think she's missed the boat on that, as in, I think it's quite a large sunk cost to do a visual album. It's very hard to do it under wraps, I believe. Even when Beyonce was trying to keep Beyonce under wraps, you know, the self-titled album that she dropped, which was the first like notable visual album. She got papped like out and about shooting stuff, so people knew something was going on, and I feel like Taylor loves to operate in complete secrecy, so it would be quite a logistical feat and challenge. And I also wonder like what kind of sonic palette would be necessary for a visual album. It would have to be pretty cohesive. It couldn't be something that was like all over the place like Evermore. It would have to be something more like Folklore or 1989, where there's like a single kind of central story that's integral to the work. But I would like her to do a visual album, but not for the sake of doing a visual album. I want her to write like very evocative cinematic music and then make visuals because they deserve them. In general, I think her visuals are really hit and miss, and she devotes less time to them than she does to the actual creating of the songs, which of course makes sense, but I feel like the visual of it is so important now when we're like, you know, it's plugged into social media constantly. Her legacy is really gonna live on through screens, so I feel like it's important that we have these iconic images. So that's why I love something like her clinging onto the piano in the water in Cardigan. Like, that says something to me about who she is, where she was at that time in her career, what was going on in the world. It says a lot, you know? So no, I actually don't think that she's gonna do a visual album. I don't think she's the stamina or the wherewithal to do it currently. But actually, after the All Too Well short film, I could maybe see her wanting to experiment with that more, especially because she's been given such a warm reception to that film. So fingers crossed, but unlikely. What is your go-to Taylor crying song, driving song, pump up song? Crying song, Tolerate It. Tolerate It, yeah. Tolerate It would be, for now, at the moment, it's the crying song. I've gone through different phases with crying songs. Like Last Kiss was really the one that I would use for a while if I need to have a good cry. Sad, Beautiful, Tragic actually could make me cry, shed a tear from time to time. Soon You'll Get Better just like is a tearjerker, but I wouldn't willingly put myself through that. Tolerate It for right now. Driving song, Getaway Car. I mean, come on, that is the driving song. But no, I would probably say Cruel Summer actually. But then pump up song could be Cruel Summer as well. I think that if I'm going to get pumped up, I'm gonna do 22. Like, that song just puts me in the best fucking mood ever. If I'm working out, like if I'm going for a run and I really need to like muster some energy, I'm not feeling it anymore, to get through like that last 5 minutes, I'll put 22 on. I'll put the normal version and then Taylor's version, run it out, enjoy my life, live, and have an amazing time. Spill about your secret session experience. Up next, that's the next video. It'll be coming next week. So whenever you see this, 1 week from today, my secret session video will be coming out. It's gonna be very long. It's gonna be a very long story. It's gonna be kind of all over the place. I'm gonna be spilling all the tea. What I can. I did sign an NDA, but I'm kind of choosing to ignore that now. So I'll be breaking all of the rules and telling you everything in about a week. So just stay tuned for that. Favorite tour you went to? I have to say the 1989 tour. I had so much fun on the 1989 tour. I went to 3 shows. I had just graduated high school. I was gonna be moving to America to go to college. I was like a little baby. I didn't really know what was going on, but I knew that I was like free and that I had a big adventure ahead of me, and I really celebrated that with the 1989 tour. Like, they kind of happened at the same time. The 1989 album is really about like self-discovery and like new journeys and new adventures. Came out on my 18th birthday. So that album really like represents something very fond and fun and lighthearted to me in my memories. So I would say, you know, even though Red is my favorite album, I didn't get to see the full production because she didn't bring the full production to Asia. She brought this like kind of shitty half version of it. Same with the Speak Now tour. So 1989 was the first like bold Taylor Swift spectacle, like imported everything from the States, all the different stage parts, all the different sets and costumes. I got to see it 3 times before she took All You Had to Do Was Stay off the set list. I met her in Loft 89. I had front row 3 times. So that was my favorite tour. I mean, of course, come on. Did the All Too Well 10-minute version live up to its hype? You know, at first I probably would have said no, but I think I was just like extremely overwhelmed by what was happening. But now I would say definitely yes. Like, that is truly a masterpiece. It is a rambling, garbling, terrifyingly candid foray into the mind of a broken-hearted 22-year-old girl. It's a testament to the depth of her emotions and the candor in which she shares them with us, but also to her skill and her craft. Because I think that, you know, the unedited version shows you just how sharp her editing tool is when she comes to putting the final version of a song together. And, you know, a lot of people can write whatever they want. It's really hard to edit something down to make it concise and wonderful. Sometimes you have to kill your darlings. So when you're writing, so I feel like she definitely had to kill a bunch of lines that were really good that other artists would have died to have in their songs. Like, you kept me like a secret, but I kept you like an oath, baby. What's your least favorite Swiftie theory? The Gaylor stuff. I'm just not into it. I'm not gonna get into it because I don't wanna get attacked, but like, I really, really don't like the speculation on her sexuality. It's not even speculation at this point. It's like straight up harassment and consistent like agitating of her and the people that are in her life, which I think is inappropriate, especially because, like, you know, for example, just hypothetically, if that were true and she's not talking about it, that's kind of traumatizing to do to someone. So I think that for all intents and purposes, Gaylor conspiracy theories need to exit the premises ASAP. Best Taylor collab. Best Taylor collab. You know, I think Nothing New. I really do. I think Nothing New is probably the best collab. No, never mind, take it back. The Last Time with Gary Lightbody. That is the best. Musically, it challenged her. The vocal arrangement was amazing. The instrumentation was so different. She's never done anything like that since. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with The Last Time for best collaboration. What do you think has been Taylor's best and worst career moves? Best was the Folklore pivot. Worst was Lover. Lover was a big mistake, and Folklore was a very clever renegotiating move. Her other best career move was re-recording her masters. That was truly sensational. It shifted the needle for artists. It changed the landscape of the music industry. That was probably her most impactful decision she's ever made as an artist. And I think she kind of made it off the cuff, so that's really impressive and amazing. Best Taylor album cover. Speak Now. Yeah, I think Speak Now. Speak Now is so, I feel like the album cover really encapsulates the vibe of the album, the tour, the visuals, where she was in her mind at that time. Speak Now was just, it was it, you know? It was the it girl of Taylor Swift album covers. All right, Swifties, that's all I have time for today. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and that I answered your questions. If I didn't, you can ask me in the comments and I will reply, or probably do an updated version of this. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you'll subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.